2 years. It has been nearly 2 years, ladies and gentlemen, that I placed my pre-order for this. Oh, heck yeah. And it's finally here. Now, before we get into the box, I have a few things to say. I'm not expecting him to be too dissimilar from old Revolved here. I'm really not, as far as articulation goes. I think the newer articulation really comes into play with the 1991 Godzilla, so I'm expecting it to be very similar to this guy, minus, you know, the posable dorsal fin, but hey, we'll see that whenever we get to it. Also, later in this review, I'm going to be doing direct comparisons to the SH Monster Arts Evolved Godzilla, and my predictions are right now, I'm still gonna like this one more because I have seen images of what it looks like, and yeah, but I'm gonna like it for, I'm gonna like the detail on it more, is what I'm predicting based off, you know, this picture here and what we have seen online. So let's go ahead and look at this box. Now, that is a fantastic looking box. It doesn't trump the SH box for me personally, but I do think it still looks very good, very clean looking. And if I'm being honest, Hiya always does really good with boxes. It's just a lot of times they're not better than SH. Alright, take a look at the top here. GxK, the new Empire. Here's the side, where you get to see the dorsal fins. The back, with the promo pictures we've been staring at for like 2 years. The other side, with his face, Grr. And the bottom, which is just the logo. Alright, let's go ahead and open this bad boy. Holy crap, this thing's about the same size as this one. That's not too bad, actually. So, straight in, we can see him sitting there. Oh. And you can see the extra hands. I'm so glad they started doing extra hands. Oh my god. I'm a fan of the extra hands. I'll do it like this. Bam. I have been so incredibly patient for this guy. I could have bought the Chinese release off of like Cow Kiss or something, but I didn't. I stuck to my gun. Also, mostly because ultimately it was just cheaper to just wait. Because, yeah, didn't have to pay a whole $20 extra for the shipping. But I'm so glad I finally have it here in my possession. Oh god. Alright, how do I get the extra hands out? There we go. And in typical Hiya fashion, they are punching hands. So, hey! Alright. Wow, they really did just paint the dorsal fin. They didn't do a whole lot for it, did they? And that's not to say it looks bad per se. It's just immediately off the bat, I like the SH dorsal fins a lot more, which you're not going to really see too much on camera. Just these are you know, on the SH ones, they're transparent, whereas here it's just painted. But also I like the way the SH ones fade into the back more than the Hiya ones. You know, it doesn't look awful, but, you know, it could have looked a lot better. Now, immediately... Oh, wow. It looks really good. Like, ooh. Okay, I don't think he's gonna look up too great, and looking down is a no-go. Hold on, can I get him to do this? Also, I like this. I like this thing here. Now, it's not awful, actually. Yeah, I don't mind that. I'm definitely going to have to heat him up for the full review, which is going to be here in a minute, but I like the tail. If I'm being honest, I don't understand why it took so long to get this guy. Oh, he looks so good. So clean. Immediately, I can tell you, I really like it. It's not because I had to wait nearly 2 years. It's just, I really like Evolved Godzilla as a Godzilla design. And yeah, this is so good. I really like this. I'm happy I waited. Now, am I going to be buying the Heat Ray variant? Likely not. just because it is very minor. Like, maybe they'll do translucent dorsal fins with, like... Oh, wow, his mouth can really open. Oh my gosh! Hold on. Here's re-evolved. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That looks really good. Dude, that mouth is way open. Like, the detailing is so good on him. Like, I love how sharp the details look, but also, I love that his mouth can open so far. This is as far as the SH one can open for me, anyway. I can't get it to open anymore, and I don't want to, force it. I'm going to mess around with him for like a day, and then we'll be back with the actual review. So, review. So, I spent roughly the last day or so playing with this guy to get a general understanding of what I think of him, and honestly, my opinion has been swaying back and forth a whole freaking lot, and a lot of that comes down to the fact that we waited 2 flippin' years to get this guy. 2 years, ladies and gentlemen, because they just kept delaying it and delaying it and delaying it and delaying it. This is what came out? Like, being honest with y'all, Hiya's attempt at Evolved Godzilla feels a whole lot like 2014, their 2014, mixed with their re-evolved, which is not a bad thing. But big, bulky figure that, looks really good with the updated articulation of 2014. And I really like the articulation from 2014. I think it's fairly solid. I mean, look at this pose. I mean, you're not getting super dynamic poses out of it, but you're still getting some pretty good poses regardless. However, my biggest thing with it right now is the fact that it does not surpass, in my humble opinion, the SH Monster Arts Godzilla Evolved. However, I'm not going to recommend this one over the Hiya Toys one simply because the Hiya Toys one gets the job done. If you want a little more out of it, save up an extra, what was it, 50, 60 bucks, which is a lot. That could buy you another Hiya figure and get you another Hiya figure. Or, get this one if you really want it. But, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that for now until we get to the climax of the review. Outside of playing with that guy, I've also spent the whole day playing the PlayStation 3 game. I freaking love this game, dude. It's so good on the Steam Deck. Oh. If you haven't played the PlayStation 3 game or the PS4 game, play it. Alright, so let's talk about the figure. This thing definitely wins in terms of detail. This has the classic Hiya formula of make it as detail accurate as possible, which, when directly compared to the SH one, you can really see. Like, he is so pointy, so sharp, so just, so full of detail, that my fingers actually really hurt after handling this thing all flippin' day. Hold on, let me turn on... Ooh, the sensor bar started falling. Anyway, let me turn on my other light here. Bye, y'all. Bing, bang, boom. Bob's your uncle. Alright, now we got some more light to work with. He is so hyper detailed that I'm inclined to believe he is more movie accurate than good old SH here. SH here still looks movie accurate, but not as accurate as this one does, which, honestly, fair. And this entire thing is not going to be a comparison between SH and SH and Hiya, but I do want to bring some comparison points, some talking points, some just general things that you can get a grasp on, so that you can make an informed decision on whether or not you'll want to buy the Hiya or the SH Monster Arts. And honestly, that's all I'm really here to do. Let's move immediately on to paint. So as we can see, the paint on this guy looks very good. I love the paintwork on this guy, except for the dorsal fins. Let me just be very frank about that. This is going to be like one of the last few times I actually bring up the SH, but I adore the way SH Monster Arts handles the the divide between the dorsal fins and the back. That is such a genius way to handle that. Like, it looks like his skin is, you know, oh, like bits of his skin are left behind on the dorsal fins as they protrude from his back or something like that. I don't know, it looks really good. And the fact that they're like extra shiny and translucent to a degree really helps. Like, you don't think they're translucent? Look at that. Look at that nonsense. That looks so good. They look so good. And if you want translucent dorsal fins on the Hiya, you have to buy the heat ray version, which is no bueno. But anyway, they did choose a nice color for the dorsal fins. I really like the coloring on it. It's like this pastel-y kind of color. And just to prove that they are not transparent, look at that. No light is getting through those bad boys, so hey, you're left with what you get. And then the front looks great. You can actually see his teeth here. Yeah, let's get a nice close-up of that. His eyes look fantastic. The paint on these spikes, they could be a little more pink, but honestly, it is what it is at this point. It's really hard to tell how much of it is supposed to be pink based on the movie itself. It's also been like a good long while since I saw the movie. Last time I saw the movie was whenever I was reviewing this guy, so hey, maybe I should watch it again. Anyway, he looks fantastic. Paint is easily a gold star. Just look at him. Look at him. And his feet are like a different color too. It's very good. I really like the paint. So yeah, paint, gold star. Let's move on to detail. Now, I already mentioned my feelings on Hiya Toys as far as detail goes. I think detail is one of their superbly strong points. Like, above all else, they like their on-screen accuracy. That is one thing that you cannot take away from Hiya Toys is their attention to detail. It is so damn good. And again, he's so pointy, which is a thing we see in the movie, is he's just so jagged and pointy and like he's extra spiky. And yeah, this guy genuinely hurts to handle after extended periods of time. And honestly, I like it. I really do. As far as I can tell from comparing him to pictures online, he is a good bit accurate. And especially when you look at the face here, his face looks very similar to older MonsterVerse Godzillas. Come on, focus. There we go. His face looks very similar to older MonsterVerse Godzillas. And that is a super plus to me. Especially when you consider that that's exactly what Evolved Godzilla looks like. Minus, you know, the new spikes and everything. And again, dimension. Handling this guy kind of hurts. My fingers are very sore and tender after handling this guy all day, especially these spikes up here, like around the back. They really hurt. So, detail. What can I say, man? It's a Hiya figure. And before we move on with to the scoring, one thing I do have to mention is he does come with an alternate pair of hands. You know, it's your Hiya standard, your bog Hiya standard, where one is a fist and the other is an open hand. Unlike SH, where, you know, one is, you know, clawed grabby hand and the other is just your regular hand. That's another thing I like more about Hiya, is you saw I just barely brushed this hand here and it just pops off. That's no good. No good at all. I do not like it. Alternate hands, not really a game changer for me. It's not going to sway my score one way or the other on whether or not I get it, so the detail is already super good, and I'm going to give detail a gold star. Now, let's move on to articulation. It is your standard Hiya Toys articulation. He can't look down at the head, but he can look up a decent bit. I did heat him up before this review, actually immediately after the unboxing. So, you know, he might be a little looser than yours unless you heat yours up too. His head can do, you know, your usual shenanigan-y stuff. You know, oh, you want him to look like that, you know, whatever. Oh god. There we go, I fixed it. Alright, and then, you know, his arms can go out like that. They can do a full 360. Hey, look at that. And then, you know, his arms can straighten out like that. They can bend like that. Thanks to the updated arm articulation, they can rotate at the bicep, which, you know, neat. They can... Oh. That's another thing that's been hurting my fingers, is just trying to get him to do a decent crunch. He can crunch like that, and then this dorsal fin, to cover up that block, can move like that. It's sitting on its own, I want to say, ball joint. So yeah, you can do funky things with this dorsal fin if you wanted to. You know, you move it like that. There, he looks a lot more natural. If you want to lean him one way, you can rotate it so the dorsal fin kind of follows like that. I really like this mechanic. I really do. And then whenever you go through the rest of the articulation, it is your standard Hiya Toys articulation. You know, the legs can do that nonsense. They go out like that, and they go in like that. They bend like so. Heel goes out about that far, up about that far, pivots like that, and then pivots the other way like that. I'm not doing the greatest job representing this, but you get it. The tail this time around is a little more articulated than the old MonsterVerse Godzilla. I almost grabbed 2014, which of course he would have about the same amount of articulation, but this is what I'm talking about. The articulation is definitely better on the tail than this one. It starts to curve a lot sooner, but it's mostly the same. Don't expect anything too crazy different. That is something a lot of people are disappointed about, because again, this guy was delayed for so damn long, and then if you want actually updated articulation, better articulation, you have to wait until the heat ray variant, and a lot of people are burned on that. And me, myself, I'm not going to be buying the heat ray variant of Godzilla Evolved here. As I mentioned before, the articulation is exactly like if you took pre-evolved here, or re-evolved, in 2014 and mashed them together. The articulation is exactly like that, minus the dorsal fin back here, because even 2014's tail here is very much the same, but it is a little more posable than re-evolved, and honestly I really like that. So having that in evolved is nice, and I can't complain too much because my expectations are tempered. And you know, again, several times again, I have been messing a lot with the SH Monster Arts Evolved Godzilla, and yeah, I do recommend the Hiya Toys one if you do want a good articulated Godzilla. So articulation is a gold star. Now, the only time articulation would ever be a green star, and this is just to explain for the newbies, only time articulation would ever be a green star is if it were Playmates level articulation, where it's, you know, just arms, maybe the mouth a little bit. This is the Battle World Godzilla. I don't know why I grabbed this one. But like legs, oh, look at the legs, they can do this. And then the tail. But yeah, this is an example of a green star figure, because it can still articulate, just not super great. It's better than, you know, oh, the arms can move and that's it, which is something I have rated a figure on before, is the arms being able to move. And then if a figure can't articulate at all, then guess what? That's a gray star. Anyway, rating system explained again. What do I think of the figure? Am I disappointed about it? No, I have kept my expectations tempered about this figure for the past 2 years, roughly. Because I've been keeping my expectations in check, I knew exactly what to expect, especially because, you know, 2014 here was, you know, oh, that one's, you know, marginally better than Re-Evolved, you know. I'm not expecting this one to be too crazy different in terms of articulation. And then Hiya went and did something crazy, and then 91 Godzilla came out, and that one has insane articulation, so... But my expectations were still tempered for MonsterVerse Godzilla. Anyway, my personal enjoyment with this thing is honestly a gold star. I do love messing with this thing as much as my fingers hurt. it's really fun to finally be able to pose Hiya's variant on it, even though even if it is, you know, exactly like messing with, you know, Re-Evolved or 2014 or whatever, I still have a lot of fun posing him around and messing with him. And honestly, that's all I can ever ask for, especially since my first ever Godzilla figure was this one, the Battle Roar Godzilla. I'm not super picky, I'm not super complaining about all this stuff. I think it's really good. My overall score is also going to be a gold star. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. Get it if you can. If you're unable to get this one, the SH Monster Arts one is a good substitute for it. Just beware, this one is like 120, 130, 140, depending on where you look. So yeah, another thing to look out with SH Monster Arts is you barely touch something on any of the figures and oh, something's gonna, you know, pop off. Like the tip of the tail here likes to come off every now and again, so I don't like to mess with the tail too awful much. But he does pose really good. The tail is superb on this one, but if you don't care about like crazy good tail articulation or whatever, Hiya's got you covered. So hey, that's been my review on the Hiya Toys Godzilla Evolved, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.